Today I was fishing at my local hidden pond. This pond was secret. My mates were down there first as I was busy, and then when I headed down there we all fished together. Here were their results. My mate Ronnie started off strong with a big 1.5 pound roach. I didn't recall the details of the rod he was using, but I'm pretty sure it was a heavy power with a 3.5 test curb and 10 foot, maybe 6 foot, but in between. Again, I didn't recall the details of the reel, but it looked around a medium size, which is really good, and it had some monofilament on, but I didn't recall the pound of it, and I should have asked. So Ronnie, if you know, put the details in the comments. And then my friend Dougie got a lovely mirror. It looked around 3 to 5 pounds, and it looked like it put up a good fight. I'm pretty sure his setup was the same as Ronnie's, as he didn't bring his rods, so he was borrowing Ronnie's. And then Ronnie pulled out the secret weapon, the 5 pound TikTok shop pen rod. He casted this out with a float on and some worms as bait, and he had some pretty good luck. He had a big common carp on. He was fighting it for a good amount of time until it dragged him into the reeds on the right, and he lost it. But to fix up for losing the fish of the day, he caught this lovely 10 to 12 pound common carp. This put up a good fight and he got it. At this point, I think he was using bread or earthworms. And then Dougie got his part in the play. He caught a lovely roach. Sadly, we had no image of the fish as there wasn't enough time to capture it, and I'm pretty sure he also caught a nice carp. But then Ronnie was off again with this baby mirror carp, maybe weighing around 6 ounces. It was like Ronnie was on fire. He had already caught another common carp. This one may be weighing around 2 to 3 pounds. At this point I had finished what I was doing and I was ready to come down to the pond, so I grabbed some sweet corn, my rod, my tackle bag and some bread and headed down. I met up with Ronnie and Dougie, and on my first cast I had some luck. Here it was. My rod had been in the water for less than 3 minutes. It had a few maggots on and I had already caught this lovely 1 to 1.5 pound roach. Ronnie had already seized the opportunity to catch another fish. He had just caught this lovely 3 pound carp. It was a common. I then had some unusual movement on my float, so I decided to wait. And then the float went down and I striked, and this is what I got. I know it was small, but it was my very first Crucian carp, weighing around 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. Yeah, we've got a nice little Crucian. Let's put him back. Yay. And away. My very first Crucian. Yes, he did jump out of my hands during the release. Before we could even think, Ronnie was onto another roach. This one had the hook stuck in its mouth, so he had to work with it. But while that happened, I caught another Crucian. Here he was, bigger than my first, so my PB Crucian. Small but beautiful. And then it was Dougie again. Yes, he had hooked into a reasonable sized roach. This was my third and smallest Crucian. He was an easy unhooking and an easy return, even though he jumped out of my hands during the return. At this point, Ronnie had just had the call that he had to go home, so he packed up and left. He was planning on leaving Dougie his remaining gear so Dougie could continue fishing, but then Dougie also had the call and he had to go. So I then decided to go. I phoned my parents and they were on their way to pick me up, and then I continued fishing during that time. I managed to catch a nice common carp, only 6 ounces though. He was very small. I also managed to catch around 6 roach and ruds, maybe 2 rods, 6 roach, but it was a very good end of the session. And then just as my mum was in sight, I had my float go down. I struck and it was another Crucian. I was hoping it was the biggest. I was fighting it. It wasn't the biggest, but it was a very nice one. Here he was, very similar to the first. He could have even been the first. He was around 1.5 to 2 pounds. And when they came down, I said to my mum, "Mum, as my sister's never fished, please can I teach her how to fish?" She'd casted a few times before but wasn't a professional, so I taught her how to cast, even though she knew, and she missed a few strikes until she had a lovely Crucian on. She reeled it in but didn't want to hold it, which is fair enough. It was a lovely £1 Crucian. Here he was, a lovely £1 Crucian with a nice golden subtly tint to him. A perfect first fish. Today I caught around 13 to 14 fish, some being common carp, some being Crucian carp, some being roach, some being rudd. And the best way to end it was my sister having a few casts and catching a lovely £1 Crucian carp. So in total, me and my friends caught about 18 to 28 fish. It was a great day. So thank you, Hidden Lake. Sorry I can't say, but all I can say is, and away.